Have you ever felt so pushed by life that all you wanted was a place that was truly your own? A place not just with four walls and a roof, but a place where your heart could finally rest, where you could say, "This is it, we're home." This is a story about that feeling. It is the story of a mother and her 6 children, a family called the Lacys. And their journey wasn't just about building a house, it was about building a home from the ashes of their past. Our story begins in Los Angeles, a city that felt less like a dream and more like a dead end for Frances Lacey. A single mother, with 6 mouths to feed, recently fired.
I can't do this! I got kids! Come on!
Fired!
I'm begging
You're
you!
fired!
Life was a daily struggle, a constant fight against the current. The city's noise, the cramped spaces, the feeling of being trapped. It was all becoming too much. We see her son getting into trouble, a small cry for help in a world that wasn't listening. For Frances, this was the final straw. She looked at her children, her tribe, and knew she couldn't let them grow up in the shadow of this place. She made a decision, one that required an almost impossible amount of courage. She decided to leave, to pack up what little they had into a worn-out 48 Plymouth and drive. Drive towards what? She didn't know. All she knew was that they were searching for a house of their own, a decent place to live. A promise whispered to her children, a promise she was desperate to keep. The journey itself was a testament to their resilience. Miles of road stretched before them, a blur of states seen through the dusty windows of their rattletrap car. Meals were egg salad sandwiches for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The car broke down, their money dwindled, and tempers frayed. The children fought in the back seat, their squabbles a tiny echo of the family's larger anxieties. For the eldest son, Shane, the weight on his shoulders was immense. He was just a boy, thrust into the role of the man of the house. A promise his mother reminded him of a burden he carried silently. And then, just as their hope was running on fumes, they saw it. An unfinished shack on a few acres of land in the middle of Idaho. To anyone else, it was a wreck. But to Frances, it was a possibility. It was a beginning. This was the turning point. Standing before the owner, Mr. Munimura, a quiet man with his own story of loss. Frances had nothing to offer but her fierce will. She had no money, but she had her hands, her children's hands, and an unbreakable determination. She proposed a deal, land in exchange for labor. She would work, her children would work, and they would pay off their debt bit by bit. It was a crazy gamble, but it was the only one she had, and in that moment, a bond was formed. Not just a business deal, but a quiet understanding between 2 souls who knew what it meant to build something for family. Building their new life was harder than they could have imagined. They lived under canvas tarps, battling the cold. The shack was a constant project, a symbol of both their poverty and their hope. Every day was a fight. Frances took any job she could, working at a local dairy, then a diner, enduring the condescension of her boss, Norman. She swallowed her pride, but she never lost her dignity. We see her defending her son over a pink t-shirt in gym class, a small moment that reveals the fierce, protective love of a mother bear. We see the family huddled in the church basement, picking through donated clothes, a humbling experience that Frances turns into a lesson of self-reliance.
Thanks very much, Mr. Father. But do me a favor, take this back, will you?
Meanwhile, her son Shane worked for Mr. Munimura, learning to drive a tractor, finding a strange sort of freedom in the hard work. And a friendship blossomed between the gruff, lonely man and this family of misfits. He brought them windows for their shack, not for money, but because he had them to spare, because he saw in them the family he had lost. The children, too, found their own ways to contribute. Murray, the quirky collector, even earns a toilet, dragging it home in his wagon, a comical yet poignant symbol of their desire for a normal life. Through it all, Frances was their rock. We see her exhausted, bone tired, feeling like she is pushing a car uphill all by herself. In a quiet, heartbreaking moment, she confesses her weariness to her children, the feeling that she just can't keep going. And her children, in their simple, profound way, remind her,
helping you, Bush.
They were making it slowly, nail by nail. They were turning the shack into a home. They even installed indoor plumbing, a victory celebrated with the triumphant flushing of their hard-earned toilet. It felt like they were finally coming up in the world. And then, disaster struck, a fire. In one night, everything they had worked for, every blister, every sacrifice, turned to smoke and ash. The home they built was gone. The devastation was absolute, and in that moment, something inside Shane, a The boy who had carried so much for so long finally broke. He lashed out at his mother, his words full of the pain and disappointment he'd been holding in.
You're only saying that. Buttoned up is beautiful. Don't lie to them! It doesn't work that way.
His anger wasn't just about the fire, it was about a lifetime of broken promises and false hope. It is a moment so raw, so real, it takes your breath away. And Frances, instead of getting angry, lets her own mask fall.
Life isn't fair, buddy. Sometimes it's just goddamn lousy.
She gives him an out, tells him to leave, to go back to Los Angeles, that they'll manage without him, just as she managed without his father. It is their darkest hour, but it is also the dawn. The next morning, as the family sifts through the charred remains, a truck pulls up. It is Mr. Munamura, and then another car, and another. The community, the people who had once looked at them with suspicion, were here. They brought lumber, tools, and helping hands. They had come to help the Lacey's rebuild. Frances, stubborn and proud, tries to refuse their charity, but they won't let her.
We're gonna do it, no matter what you say, Frances.
In that moment, she finally lets go. She lets them help, and we see them, all of them, friends and family, working together, raising the frame of a new house from the ashes of the old one. What is a home? The Lacey's story teaches us that a home isn't something you find, it is something you build. It is not made of wood and nails, but of resilience, sacrifice, and the stubborn refusal to give up. It is built from the moments you feel like you are pushing a car uphill all alone, only to look back and see your tribe pushing with you. The fire took their house, but it couldn't touch their home, because their home was in each other. It was in the kindness of a stranger who became family. It was in the community that showed up when they had lost everything. The final picture of them, standing in front of their new, complete house, is more than just a photograph. It is a monument to the human spirit. It reminds us that no matter how many times life knocks us down, no matter how much we lose, as long as we have each other, we can always rebuild. Whatever tears us apart, building something together can make us whole again. We are all, in our own way, the Lacey tribe.